So, bonjour. I think it's time to start if we want to stay on the schedule. I wish to welcome you all to this meeting at the Collège de France in this beautiful amphitheatre Marguerite de Navarre. The topic is microbiome and human evolution. Microbiology meets anthropology. And the essential aim of this meeting is in a way to sort of foster the mutualistic symbiosis between anthropologists and biologists. And I hope by the end of these 2 days, we have moved a bit forward in this direction, which for us, at least the organizers, is something essential. This is the 5th meeting of that sort that we are organizing with Brett Finlay here at the Collège de France, and there are equivalent activities going on in Canada. I will say a few words, and he will say a few words about this as well. This meeting was organized in a way around 3 major topics, and if I wish to summarize in a second, one is about what microbes teach us about human evolution. The other one is how can one mix better anthropology and biology to improve the quality of epidemiological data. It's more or less the idea, but it's even more complicated than this, but that would be just summarizing. And the third one is, can one identify steps in human developments which actually have been targets of the microbiome in human evolution? So this is sort of taking different aspects under this angle of, again, mixing anthropology and biology. So to do this, we had a very active scientific committee with Brett, again, Finlay, Frédéric Keck, Margaret Locke, Henrik Poinard, and myself. It's been a pleasure to sort of contact the speakers and get their opinion on the global concept. The organization, a big thank to Colette Jacquemin, who, as usual, has been very efficient at putting all this together and contacting and pressing speakers to get answers, and she was successful. Thanking the speakers, of course, because it's a long trip to Paris for some of you, but we really appreciate that you accepted to come. There are also sponsors, which I would really like to mention because they've been very supportive to this endeavor. As you know, the Collège de France is a purely academic structure. It's open to the public. We cannot get funding from private companies or institutions, so we have to operate on the basis of purely academic funding. So I really wish to thank the Fondation Hugo du Collège de France, which has been very generous this time and the meetings before, all the time, very faithful to this topic and the organizers. The Peter Wall Institute for Advanced Studies at the University of British Columbia in Canada. Peter Wall and Brett will tell you a few words about it. Is a partner of the Collège de France and vice versa. We have a contract, we have exchanges of professors. CFAR, the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, which actually has been also helping us organizing and funding this meeting. CFAR is an interesting institution. Maybe Brett can also tell us something about it. He is currently coordinating, leading one of these networks on microbiome and human evolution, and this is sort of, in a way, boosting the reflection. And this meeting, among others, is a sort of example of the kind of reflection which is going on in this very interesting consortium. And the last one is the LABEX. I'm not going to get into any details. Laboratoire d'Excellence is funding from the French Investissement d'Avenir, because France, a few years ago, has decided at last to invest a bit more in science, and this is a good thing, at least for those who coordinate these LABEX, and this is funding, in our case, emerging infectious diseases research, and we think that anthropology, again, of course, is a major part of this view of things with regard to anthropology and biology. So this is more or less what I wanted to say as a sort of forward to this meeting. In practical terms, just talking about we will have coffee breaks between sessions. We will have a lunch for the speakers, unfortunately not for the audience, because again, due to the funding system, we cannot ask for fees to attend this. So you have plenty of beautiful cafe and terrace under the sun for the lunch period if you wish to appreciate the quality of life in the Quartier Latin here in Paris. And of course, we will reconvene for the afternoon session after the lunch. So that's all I wanted to say before I introduce Jean-Jacques Hublin, who is our first keynote speaker. I would like to give the floor to Brett to tell you about his view on this symposium. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Philippe. Good morning, all. Yes, Philippe and I, there's this relationship between the Peter Weil Institute and the Collège de France, and there's funds in there for money. And the joy of it is that we get to organize meetings, and what we try and do is organize meetings that we wouldn't normally happen. And so we've had some very interesting meetings over the years, which so this is not your standard, very specialized, blasted out in this particular area. So and microbiology and anthropology are certainly overlapping, and that was the theme we want to get to here. So a couple of words. The Peter Weil Institute. Peter Weil is a rich philanthropist in Vancouver who made a lot of money in real estate, and he set up an Institute for Advanced Studies. So this is an institute at the university that really, its main mission is academic excellence and interdisciplinarity. And so it's really fun hanging around with people that do nothing that you even understand initially. And it really brings the scholars of the university together. And we have an agreement with the Collège de France, and we exchange speakers and other things. And then the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, this is a very interesting creation in Canada that really they fund you to get the world's best people together in many different disciplines and think deeply about a problem, but they don't just do it one meeting. We have 2 meetings a year for 5 years type thing. And I was just looking at the program. Ironically, the people on the scientific committee, they're all members of the CFAR group that I'm involved in, which is called Humans and Microbes, the effects of microbes on human development, so really brain and things like that. Human evolution, our microbes influencing our evolution and vice versa. And then we tagged on the end, when we wrote this, we called it Anthropology, which opened up a whole new world for many of us. And it's been a very exciting journey as we meet twice a year. And several people in the audience and speakers are involved in this. It's a really neat thing. So I think it should be a really interesting meeting. I anticipate hearing all sorts of things I didn't know, which is the perfect kind of meeting for me. And so back to Philippe.
Thanks, Brett. I hope we'll have a chance to organize other meetings in the future, because this has been a very exciting endeavor. Over the last 10 years almost we started, so it's time flies. So it's my pleasure to introduce Jean-Jacques Hublin as a first keynote speaker for this symposium. Jean-Jacques Hublin is a paleoanthropologist. I'm sure you understand the concept. And his work is marked by, research on evolution of Neanderthalians and Homo sapiens, and of course the out of Africa story, and he will tell us more about this. He's been really a pioneer in something that I read in his descriptions, virtual paleoanthropology. I mean, it's not so virtual to me in a way, because we're using, modern methods of imaging and computing to actually explore the origin of the human species, and this is really why he's worldwide recognized for. He's currently a professor. He started at the CNRS in France. He's currently a professor at the Max Planck Institute of, I think it's evolutionary human evolution. Okay, whatever. In Leipzig. He is the current and actually first president of the European Society for the Study of Human Evolution, and is indeed a professor at the Collège de France. I think he really came up with many fascinating observation in his field, but course, the most striking, and I'm sure he will talk about this, is the one that he published with his colleagues from Morocco last year, basically demonstrating that Homo sapiens is older than we thought by 100 and 1,000 years, which is not bad, and which actually makes our life more complicated because it gives a scheme of human evolution and of the out of Africa scheme much more complex than we thought before. Still, 300,000 years is nothing compared to the age of bacteria, which are something like 2.5 billion, so you still have some progress to make, but I'm sure you will fill the gap sometimes, even though I doubt it. So anyway, thank you very much, Jean-Jacques, to sort of introduce. I thought it was nice to start this meeting with the big picture. Thank you.